The console is like some kind of evil, decadent thing. Yes, that will cause you to not get into Harvard, which I didn't anyway, by the way, so I guess she was right. Hi, I'm Natalie Wynn, creator of the YouTube channel ContraPoints, and I'm here for Polygon's Shelf Quest. Yeah, the narrative, and especially the games that I remember as a kid, is like a very minimal and vague. Like in Spyro the Dragon, you were saving dragons that are like imprisoned in crystal and also like hatching eggs. There's like these gems that you're collecting. They look like gushers. I wanted to eat those gems. And so it's those little like tactile details that kind of stick out to me. And the music, which a lot of the music in those games is great. My dad was on like the cutting edge of having a computer, so I played games for MS-DOS that were like educational, designed to teach you like the alphabet. Then after that, my parents, they're like PBS liberals. So they had this prejudice against video games, right? You can only play it if it's educational. There's a game called Math Blaster for PC, which taught you math. There was a game called The Logical Journey of the Zoombinis, which I was allowed to play because it has the word logic in the title. I think Zoombinis really benefited from having the word logic in the title. As far as like public relations with parents was concerned, that was very helpful for them. Like there's this section I remember where there's these 3 trolls and you have to make a pizza that satisfies all of them. Or I think it's just one at a time actually. And so the logic part is you have to deduce from their rejection like which things they want until you get it right. This was a brother game for me. I think my brother got it. This isn't exactly the one. I've never played this, but I played the earlier one, which is Dark Legacy. The game is like trash. You will not get into Harvard if you play it. I've played it for like 500 hours. It's just like mindless. You hold a button and it kills like zombies. That's the game. I think because my parents especially hated that one. They would just look at it like, what are you doing? And I don't know. I don't know what we were doing. Actually, they were right. They were right about that one. I feel like it was also like vaguely offensive in terms of like relying like heavily on sort of gender and racial stereotypes. So I don't endorse this, to be clear, but it was like pretty fun to do as a forbidden activity in the early 2000s. There was this game I've never been able to find or name that involved like walking around a sort of maze, and there was this like knife that would like go up and down behind you as if it was like cutting the surface of a cantaloupe that you were walking on. I have no idea what it was. I just have a vague memory of it. Those early games that you play like below the age of 10, the memory of it is very fuzzy, and usually they make a big impact because it's like the most fun thing you've ever done. So I think this is probably why I like playing like sort of nostalgic or like liminal nostalgic games, because you kind of are wandering around something that looks like a PlayStation 1 game, but sort of deliberately distorted and mysterious. I think it does kind of, for my millennial brain, it like scratches this like sort of nostalgic feeling of like you're being reminded of the past, and there's something kind of cozy and comfortable about that, but also there's a kind of pain to the past because it's distantly familiar. Like it feels like home but not anymore, you know, and that I think is like a good like emotional basis from which to create a horror experience. So I like I think it's just like a 2-person Japanese studio Chilla's art. I've played probably like a dozen of their games. I love the Fears to Fathom series. Those are usually set in like American suburbs, so it really feels like, you know, what if my childhood was more fucked up? I love that. I like games that give you a lot of freedom, and The Sims definitely does that. Yeah, a lot of games do have like some kind of like good versus evil metric where your choices over the game have some kind of consequence. The Sims is like totally silently indifferent, like the universe itself. And that to me, I don't know, just feels more real. It feels more authentic. It feels like I am truly like bearing the responsibility of my horrible, horrible choices. The game has no opinion at all about how you manage this cheerful suburb as a god. I surprised myself by some of the things that I would do in the game, just the horrible depths of sadism. I'm not the only one though. That seems to be like a core experience of people who played The Sims growing up, is like you were drowning some folks, or like even more elaborate stuff. The first thing you do when your Sims get married is like someone's having an affair, right? Because it's drama. It's interesting. I mean, it's like reality TV, but you're like completely in control of it. It's just a whole like avenues of sadism that are not available to the public, and it's somehow more fun because it's this cheerful suburb suburb, and because the game doesn't tell you to be evil. Like, I feel like a game where you're like an assassin and you're supposed to be killing people, see, I don't want to do that. I want to decide to be evil. Like, I want it to be entirely my initiative. That's the magic of The Sims to me, is just existing in this kind of like paradise suburban world and just choosing to be a monster. I never played Dance Dance Revolution. It's too athletic. Actually, I might be into it now. Yeah. As it suddenly has occurred to me that like I should probably move more. I think with me, there was like the rule when I was in elementary school was like no video games. By the time my youngest brother was in elementary school, the rule was like, please do not play more than 10 hours of video games in the living room. Like, you know, so that tends to be how that goes. I think the fact that it was like something that my parents like regulated so much conferred the sense that this was like forbidden and decadent, and like nothing makes you want to do a thing more than the fact of it being forbidden. So I wasn't allowed to have a Game Boy or an N64 or anything until there was some kind of raffle at my public school, and the prize was a Game Boy Pocket and a copy of Pokemon Red version, which I happened to win. And my parents threw in the towel at that point. They've been defeated by fate, and after that I was allowed to get more. So I feel like the first like forbidden decadent game was Pokemon. I think that the first game I streamed actually was a like first generation Pokemon game, and I think I made something like $200, which was to me at the time quite a lot of money. And I was just like astonished at the idea that you could make money playing a game for children. Like it was just wild to me, and I didn't understand it at all at the time. Like, why is anyone giving me money to do this? But then I kind of like learned more about the, you know, as the experience of being a YouTuber, you learn about the dynamic of parasocial relationships. And then I thought back to being a kid, and it's like this sense of community that happens when you're like sitting around watching someone play a game and you're like talking to each other about it. And I was like, okay, it actually does make sense. Yeah, I remember buying like an expensive bottle of champagne with that Pokemon money, because I mean, I felt like I had like unlocked the secrets to the universe at that point. I feel like I've lost that sense that it's so amazing, but I should get it back. I never played a Resident Evil game until I started streaming them, and I started with Resident Evil Village and basically fell in love with the series right there. So I've since like played a bunch more of them. I've been playing this one recently because it just came out a few months ago. I streamed basically this entire game, and what I love about these games, well, part of it is just like this, I like the aesthetic of them. I like the sense of place that you get. Like in Village, there was this like amazing mansion. In this one, there's this like beautiful Art Deco hotel that you like wander through, and there's like a bar and like a roulette table, which I've spent like far too much time on with attempting to gamble with the chat, which might be against the YouTube terms of service. Actually, I should stop that. I was actually just streaming the original Ocarina of Time like last year. I was surprised how bad at it I am. Like, it's actually hard. I think games have gotten easier. Oh my God, little golden books. I have not like seen this border probably 25 years. I think the most emotionally meaningful experience I can remember having in a game, at least recently, was the game Superliminal, which is a kind of like liminal puzzle game that's based on perspective. So you can like, you know, if you pick up a chess piece that's this close to you, and then you like look at it really far away, and you put it down, it will actually now be that size. Then during like the height of the COVID pandemic, the game comes out, and I streamed it. I was having a very hard time, like emotionally, as many people were. And the game kind of ends with this, like, a little bit sentimental, but it landed for me at the time, because it ends with this monologue about, like, you know, shifting your perspective and like the way that, you know, what you've used in the game could pertain to your life. And something about that at the end of this, like, very, like, aesthetically engaging experience, like it really actually like worked for me. Also, the developer was in the chat, and then I like drunkenly called him for half an hour, so that was really fun. I'm Natalie Wynn, and you can follow me on YouTube as ContraPoints or ContraPointsLive for gaming content. People tell me it's like watching their mom play video games. Do you want me to do it again without saying that?
Thanks for watching this episode of Shelf Quest. I hope this one was a fun surprise. Nobody was expecting ContraPoints. She was amazing. We'll be back with you as always next 2 months. Make sure that you subscribe to be notified. And hey, like and share this video. That's cool to do.